Hello guys, this is a review of the movie Mommy. This is my second time reviewing this film. I published it and then deleted it because I didn't like the background as silly as that may sound, so we're just going to do it all over again. Here it goes. This is a masterpiece by Xavier Dolan. I believe he wrote, directed, and co-produced it. To be honest, I read a lot of negative reviews like I usually do with Xavier Dolan films, and I feel like they have something against him and like personally. These are professional critics and obviously they explain their points, but I couldn't disagree with them more. These are masterpieces. Like the films that I've watched by him, they're amazing. I strongly disagree with everything they're saying. For real. So this is a Canadian film. It's in French. I obviously saw it with English subtitles, and it's I don't know if it was filmed or later edited, but it has this weird format where you could only see 2/3 of the screen. Imagine this is a screen, so you can only like see this. It's pretty cool, and the movie only opens to full screen in this scene in particular where he's having the greatest time with Kyla and his mother while Oasis song Wonderwall is playing in the background. It's pretty cool. So the movie starts with an announcement that I think it's theoretical announcement. I don't think this really happened, where it's legal now to take your kids to mental institutions if you feel like they have problems, and they don't have to do very in-depth evaluations on the kids, and they could just take them from you and you wash your hands clean of them. It's a very sensitive subject, so as with everything that goes on in the movie, viewers discretion is strongly advised. The movie follows the story of Diane. Her nickname is Di, that's how I'm gonna refer to her as. And she has a 15-year-old kid named Steve, or Stevie, I think. He has ADHD, that's his diagnosis. The movie starts with him being in this sort of, I think, what would be referred to as juvie hall in the United States, or juvenile hall. And his mom is on the way because they called her, there's like problems going on in that institution. She crashes. So that really, she crashes and her car gets completely wrecked. That really sets the tone, the mood for the entirety of the film, I think. She makes it to that place where he's in currently, and she notices water all over the place, and then the we're gonna call her the director of the place tells her, your kid started a fire, caused the fire that burned one of the other kids. And instead of being very apologetic and everything about it, being like, sorry, please give him another chance, she's laughing it off. She's saying, kids, heh. And she's like, this is serious, ma'am. And she tells her option, like, this kid is either gonna end up like in jail or stuff. And she's like, are you crazy? They're gonna beat my kid up there. No way am I gonna leave him there. And she mentions, like I said, what we saw in the opening scene, which is that she has the option of leaving him in a mental institution. And she says, I'm not gonna do that to my son. I'll take him home. So she has to take him home. This kid is very problematic. The problems start right away. They get there and it seems like he's really gonna try. He tells her, you know what, mom, I'm gonna give it a serious try. She's like, yeah. And shortly after, he gets money from her and unbeknownst to her, goes out and buys a bunch of groceries and a necklace that says mommy on it. And he takes it to her and he's like, look, mom, look what I got you. Look what I bought for you. She's like, where did you steal it from? You're so dumb. We don't have any money. How could he go? Where did you steal it from? And why are you wasting our money? He's like, I didn't steal it. It's a gift for you. It's a gift. And this goes back and forth until he just flips. He threatens to kill her. He's choking her. She manages to escape and hide. And when she comes out, this woman named Kyla is tending her son's wounds. Kyla is a neighbor. She lives right across the street with her husband and her daughter. She used to be a teacher, but she started having stuttering problems, which are not, it's not clear why she started, but she wasn't born with them. And they get to talking. She explains, you know what, like, I don't think that I beat my son up, but we have issues and I'm struggling. And then she offers a job to Kyla. She asks her if she could tutor her son since she was a teacher. And obviously Stevie's not gonna really do really well in the public school system. So to make ends meet, Di finds jobs everywhere and anywhere she can. She used to be, when her husband was alive, which is a very sensitive topic for Stevie, she used to be well off. She used to have a lot of money. And she has friends with a lot of money whom she went to for help, for jobs as tutor, perhaps English teacher. And her friends are like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "You know what? Yeah." Like, she is obviously like, her head down. She has to toughen it up. She feels embarrassed that she's in that situation, but she still pulls through, cleans houses. She does everything she can for him. But it's not easy. Nothing is easy with Stevie. Honestly, nothing at all. There's a moment where Kyla, like the first time that she goes over to help him with his work, his schoolwork, she tries to, sorry, let me adjust myself. He tries to harass her, and she's not having any of it. She tackles him down and is like, brings his dad up, and they go after each other in um such an intimate and cruel way that I feel they formed a bond because of that. So when his mom comes back from the first day, she notices that they have like fruit here and there. They're gonna have wine, and everything's so peaceful. But before that, they had a whole storm of aggression towards each other. But I feel like Kyla's hiding something. It's very, very interesting. Like, I hope that you watch this movie, because I go into depth, like, with the plot as if you never watched it, even though I always recommend that you do. So that happens. The dust settles. Everything seems to be going well. Sorry. And then the main problem, I would say, comes in the form of an envelope that Di opens, and it reads that she has been sued by the parents of the kid that got burned at the place, because of the injuries that he sustained because of her son. So now she has to find the money. She doesn't have the money for it. And there's a neighbor that's been flirting with her on and off, who's a lawyer. He offers to help her, and he invites, I'm sorry, there's the dog he does. Come on, baby. Come on. I'm dog sitting this little guy right here. He's a crybaby. But anyway, he invites him over to a karaoke bar to kind of get to know them. They first have lunch together, and Stevie's not having any of it. He tells his mom, "Mom, do you really think he cares about us? He doesn't care about us. He just wants to get with you. He wants to have sex with you. He doesn't care about me or you. And you're giving into his game." And she's like, "Stevie, you have to understand that we don't have any money, and he could help us." I'm sorry about the dogs. It's not this one. It's a bunch of other dogs. I really don't want to start this again, because this is like the second time that I do this, and they keep interrupting. Okay. I'm sorry about that. So, they go over to the karaoke bar thing, right? And he's trying to play like like we're best friends. Yeah, I'm gonna help your mom. And I guess if you don't have those demons in your head, you could really play it off. You could play it cool. It could be like, "Yeah, please help us. It wasn't my intention." But he can't cope with that. He can't do that. He not just cope. He cannot play this game for a very long time, because he could barely um how can I say, he could barely do with who he is. Imagine having to deal with other people. He asks for a song, and this girl sings a song with him at the karaoke bar, and he sees his surroundings, just people yelling things, drinking, acting dumb and crazy, and people even start insulting him, yelling out slurs to him on stage. He flips out and beats up one of the guys that was calling him stuff, and then they're looking for the car in the parking lot, and the potential lawyer gets mad at him for disrespecting Di, his mom, and he hits Stevie, and then his mom hits him, and the guy's like, "You know what, screw you guys, you solve your own problems, I'm not gonna help you." Crazy. And now Di is left with the very difficult decision of, what do I do? There's not many things that she could do. right? Like, she doesn't have money. He's very problematic. She can't leave him alone. Um, so she comes back with a new car, and you know how I told you that her first one got wrecked. And he goes in all excited, and they're gonna go to a park. Before that, she envisions this, and they don't tell you that this is in her imagination, but I knew, like, from the start. We see Stevie growing up, getting to art school like he wanted to, and earning a degree, falling in love, bringing her girlfriend over to meet her mom, his mom, I mean. And then you realize that it's just a dream in her head. So they plan with Kyla a little trip to like a park, a picnic or something like that. And Di's like, you know what? I need to use the restroom. Let me make a quick stop. So she stops at the mental institution. She goes in faking that she needs to use the restroom and comes out with white guys in white robes, and or like, you know, the medical wardrobe. And Stevie catches onto it. He tries to elope. He tries to get out of the car and run, but they catch up to him and starts tasering him and punching him. And Di's like, no, you know what? I take it back. I refuse. I refuse. Like, I want to bring him back home. And they're like, no, you already signed off your rights as a mother. You're no longer in charge of his life. We care for him now. And you could see her cry. Like, that was a gut wrenching moment, because she's not just crying like, oh, my son is going to stay here. She's seeing the abuse that he's going to possibly have to take for however years he's in there. But then I guess she didn't really have an option. So she goes home, and there's a scene where he's calling her, and she's cleaning like the back of the house, so she doesn't answer. She doesn't hear the phone. And then Kyla pays her a visit. She hasn't seen her in a while, and she tells her that she's going to move with her husband because he found a new job somewhere else. And Di's like trying to play it cool. It's like, oh yeah, that's good news. You should have started off with that. You know, that's not nothing to be sorry about. That's awesome. Good for you. And Kyla mentions, you know what? I don't want you to think that what we lived was like meant nothing for me. It did mean something, but I can't just leave my family and stay here with you. She's like, then she's kind of taken aback, and then she leaves, and the final scene is with Stevie running away. Like, the medical personnel is busy talking with each other, so he makes a run for it. And it's well, I don't know, you could see, you can make your own assumption of whether or not he managed to escape or not, but it's a very freeing ending, especially under the circumstances that Stevie was in. So the film discusses, like, viewers' discretion is heavily advised, because mental issues are never supposed to be taken lightly. And this is my opinion, and I'm not a professional. I'm not making professional suggestions, recommendations, or anything like that. This is just my opinion about a film, a movie. And having worked with, under the branch of, what could we say, behavior therapy, having worked there with kids, I know that it's a very difficult thing. I could imagine for a lot of people it's a very difficult thing, and maybe people don't realize and think like, oh well, they're not even paying attention. But you should try to still be respectful towards them and help them keep their integrity and be as functional as possible. Obviously, in this case, Stevie was not necessarily not able to function, but he had problems, very severe problems, socializing and avoiding confrontation with people in general. And it took a toll because he was destructive. He also had destructive tendencies. His mother was put in a place where she really didn't know what to do. This is a very, very difficult real life thing that I think a lot of people don't think about unless they have to cross that bridge. And it shouldn't be like that. We should be more aware. I don't want to judge Di. Like, sometimes people think, well, I'm just going to put my kids in there. Or people judge, right? They're like, so and so put their kids in that institution and she only stays with them a few hours a day. But you don't know how hard it is. You don't know if they're equipped to handle the things that are coming their way. And maybe that's the best option for the kid, but then sometimes they get abused and, may I even dare to say, tortured in these type of places. Sometimes it's not the answer. After watching the Paris Hilton documentary, I think it's called This Is Paris, where they practically kidnap her. It's against her will. Her parents obviously signed for it to be taken away, but they are, you don't know if they're sexual predators. Like, they hit her, they did all these things to her when she was a teenager. And I feel like a lot of times kids do have to go through these things and they have to keep quiet because nobody's going to believe them either way, or they feel like they might get into more trouble because they're lying. But as I'm saying, like, it's hard for me to really explain this, but it comes down to a very simple thing. What do you do in the case of having a kid with ADHD and all of these other problems that you are not able to work out because she has to literally have a conventional job? That's her work. So how is she gonna find time to work with her son? She was, I think, very lucky to find Kyla, and I think Kyla was very lucky to find them because, as I mentioned in my other review, she had a very square, very one-dimensional life with, I'm the housewife and she's my daughter, she's all right, and my husband. She wanted a little bit of spice. And what did Stevie and Di want? Or they needed? Control. They needed less stimulation, less out of control, and more straightforward. Later on, after reading some comments, I don't remember where I got this idea from, but I read it somewhere, that Kyla and Di might have been in love with each other. And I really didn't get that until I watched like the ending scene, and then I read some comments somewhere. I'm terrible with this whole, as they call it, gaydar. It didn't click in my head until I read that, but it could be true because they really had such great chemistry. You have no idea. But the main point of the film is this, like, the imagining that I told you, where Di is picturing Stevie's life as an adult and everything. That must be so hard. And then she mentions that she has hope for him. And that's the last thing that we should lose as humans is hope. But these are very difficult situations. And I feel like we struggle so much, or at least I do, and the people around me don't have answers when I talk to them about this. I know I've talked about this with many people, my sister and everything, about mental illness in general, not even like being diagnosed with anything too severe in particular, but just dealing with mental illness. And it's difficult because, especially for Mexicans, me being Mexican, it's difficult to speak about these things. It's not common to bring it to the light. We keep it hidden and we say, no, we don't need medicine, like, you're crazy if you do, and stuff. Like, there's a lot of judgment that shouldn't be there, because it puts extra weight on the people dealing with these things. And on top of it, the eyes and the words that are coming out of people's mouths that are not prepared to talk about this. Very difficult. Like, I could just sit here and tell you it's difficult, but it's very difficult. I hope that we start speaking about it more and more and more, so that it becomes a normal thing for us to deal with, and we don't have to hide our kids or our brother or our aunt like they're some type of weird creature. We're all humans. None of us are perfect. No matter how well off you are, no matter how sane you think you are, and like, oh, well, I grew with my mom and my dad and they love me. Yeah, that's fine. That's amazing. You probably do have an advantage of in a lot of places, in a lot of developmental stages. But we all have a burden to carry. Some people's way heavier than other people's, but we all do. and we should be sensitive and try to love one another and find answers, find ways to go about these things, so that we don't have to resort to just taking our kids somewhere where we're not sure that they're going to be properly taken care of. And that's my opinion on the film. The film is beautiful. The film has a lot of sad moments that made me cry, of course. Very well made movie, contrary to some. I'm in look, Vanity Fair, Time, Tellurama, Rolling Stone, they all gave good um criticism. They had nice things to say about the film, but a lot of other ones didn't. So I don't know why, because they're awesome. I highly recommend it, and I would give it a rating of 9.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. As always, feel free to let me know what you think about the film, what you think about what I said. You could disagree or agree. It's fine. We're here to open dialogue. And once again, thank you for watching.